everyone. Welcome to my February vlog. This month is starting out pretty much like January, very cold, very snowy, lots of time to stay in and felt. I'm hoping it'll be a productive month. We'll see what happens. I'm going to be working on a few different things. I have a little bear project that I'm working on that I'm quite excited about, and I'm going to make a start on my moose, which I have been thinking about for a while and just neglecting for some reason. And there's a few other things. So hopefully you'll want to follow along and see what I get up to. And I hope you have a great month as well. Okay, so here we go.
The month started off with finishing up my wolf, which I loved making. If you're interested in the process, check out my video showing how it was made. But I had a little snag in the base that I had intended to use, which didn't really work out in the end. So I had to venture out, and yes, we're still deep in snow this month, to find another one to use. I get a lot of my bases at a home store called Home Sense. They're platters or cheese boards or whatever, but they're fairly inexpensive and I like the way they look. So here's the one I picked, and here is the finished piece.
Okay, so today I am going to try to make a little bit of progress on my moose. He has been patiently waiting for me for months now, and I think I've been putting it off because I've never done antlers before. So this is the first time I will be figuring out how to do that. I think what I'm going to do is wire them and then felt over them, but we'll see. But first of all, I need to figure out the size. So I printed out these two sets of antlers. They're very similar, but I want to make sure the size is right. So I'm just going to roughly cut them out. Yeah, I think it's definitely the smaller ones. So I'll cut that out a little bit better just to make sure. Let me get the size as accurate as I can without having to go to all the work of cutting it out around each and every little point. Okay, I think we're gonna go with those ones. This is what I'm gonna try. So this is a 20 gauge wire, and then this is a 24 gauge, so a little thinner. So I'm gonna use the main wire that I'm gonna stick into his head eventually as a support, and then I'm going to attach this one onto here and then use that to form the shape. So this is my basic antler armature. This is a total experiment, so don't take this as like a tutorial unless hopefully it'll work out, but this is just what I'm trying. It's all about trial and error. So I'm going to try, I'm going to make another one, and then I'm going to try to cover this. So there we have two antler armatures. I probably just should have made one, I realized, and then tried to cover it and see how that worked before making the other, but that's okay. Hopefully it'll work, and then I'll have the other one ready to go. So next step will be to start twisting some wool around these. So here's a really rough antler, and it actually turned out pretty well. It's obviously nowhere near done, it doesn't perfectly conform to the shape, but it's close enough, and it didn't have to be perfect anyway. I still have tons of finishing to do.
I'll coat it with some kind of glue or something, and then I'll probably trim these down a little bit once they're thinned out. But I like how it turned out because even though there's only 3 wires in there, I can still manipulate it so it's flat, but then I can turn it upwards, like more like how a moose antler appears, I guess. And then once I'm happy with the shape, I'll kind of seal it with like a glue and water solution or something like that. Anyway, so that's the first antler kind of half done, and so far so good. Happy with it. Now what is she doing, you might ask? So I had this idea. I'm trying not to start anything new, but I could not help it. I had this one idea that I really want to try to execute. I don't know how it's going to work out, but I want to have a polar bear standing on top of an iceberg or looking down over an iceberg ledge into the water, which I want to create with resin, and a little seal will be poking up looking at him. So that's the general idea. I don't have the polar bear or the seal or really even an idea of how I want to do this, but I usually end up going at things kind of backwards. So I'm starting with my iceberg to see how this works. So I used to have a whole bunch of cake dummies that I did my cakes with, display cakes and that kind of thing. So I feel good about using those up for this type of thing. So I don't like throwing them out, but I didn't know what to use them for. So I am going to try to create the iceberg out of styrofoam and then maybe cover it with clay. And then I bought this sort of fake snow stuff to paint over it. I don't really know how I'm going to do it yet, but I just sort of wanted to try this and see how it might work. So something like this maybe? I don't know. I just put it on this wood base for now. I don't think I would use it just because the surface would be painted to look like ice with a hole in it, but the edges are bark and that doesn't really go with the whole ice thing. So I think I would probably use a different type of base. I'm not sure what yet, but this is kind of the general idea. So the bear would be sitting or standing up here, peering down into the water, and then the seal would be poking up right about here. So we'll see how that goes. I had a bit of a fail this month, a project fail. So if you've watched my previous vlogs, you might remember, I think it was last month, where I listed a few projects and I put them in a bowl and I drew them out one by one, and my rule for myself was that I had to work on it right then and there if I pulled it out. So one of those things that I listed was to paint these little terracotta pots that I'd found in a drawer, and I wanted to paint and eventually make some little needle felted plants to go in them that I would sell at my shows. So I did pick this project out of the bowl at some point in February, and I was kind of excited because I've been looking forward to working on these for a while. It's something a bit different. I tried painting on a couple with little brushes and these little acrylic paints that belonged to my daughter, but I wasn't happy with the results at all. So I went to the craft store and I bought some paint markers. And I actually had a kind of a bad feeling right away because I didn't love the color selection, but against my better judgment, I bought them anyway. And I took them home and I started working on the pots. And my idea was to paint flowers on them. And out of a total 7 pots that I painted, 2 with brushes and 5 with markers, this was the only one that I didn't intensely dislike. And I don't even particularly like this one. It's not that the other ones were awful exactly, but I need to be happy with something to sell it. So this is the only one I'm going to use. It's a bit frustrating because it drives me crazy when I spend money on something and then I don't end up using whatever I bought, which was the case with these paint markers, because I don't think I'll ever use them again. But it also drives me crazy when I spend a lot of time on something that I don't end up using. Oh well, on to the next thing.
So I've been thinking about this project a lot. I really want to do it. I'm not going to make it a goal for the end of the month or anything, but I'm going to work on it a little bit this month. So far I've done this is going to be a bunny. He still needs ears and he still needs a lot of finishing, but he's going to sit in the bear's hands like that, and they're going to be looking at each other, and it's meant to be cute, not predatory or anything like that. So yeah, I've been working on blending colors for the bear, and I've been using, because I don't have the color I want, I'm trying to create it using a bunch of different colors. And so what I've been doing is taking different amounts of these wools and adding them together. A little bit of this one, a little bit of the yellow to warm it up a little bit. And then I've just been kind of mixing them by hand to get them a little bit more blended before I put them in the carders. And then once it looks more like this, then I will start carding it. But I really need to get some better carders than this, because I'm having a really hard time avoiding knots whenever I card wool. So just putting the fibers in and combing them. So the colors are mixing well. What happens when I take it off the carders is it's just full of these little knots that make it hard to attach the fur when I'm planting it. So I need to remove it, like these little things. So I've been going through the wool after I card it and painstakingly removing all these little knots. Somebody in a previous video pointed me towards another video that showed the process of carding, and I watched it and I think I'm doing it right, but I just have not been able to avoid getting all these little knots. So yeah, as you can see, this takes a little while, and so I've been doing just a little bit of this every day to get the wool ready for my bear. But I can't do too much of it. It's just too boring, and I get restless and I have to move on to something else. So I'll do a little bit of work on it and then I'll put it aside for another day. If anybody has any ideas of how to make this faster, or if I'm doing something wrong, or if it's just a matter of getting a better set of carders, just let me know. I'd be interested to hear.
I'm doing some kit stocking up this month, so I thought I would tell you a bit about how I make my kits. I'm so proud of these kits. They've evolved so much over the years, and I've put countless hours of work into making them. My first two kits that I ever designed, and it's been about 3 years now, I think, since I designed them, were a sheep and an owl, and they were packaged like this because I had a lot of these clear front boxes left over from when I used to make sets of sugar cookies. But when I'd used up those boxes, I changed to cardboard mailers, both because they were cheaper and also because they're more environmentally friendly. And something else I've done to improve them is I've designed a little booklet called Felting the Basics, which I include in each kit, that has illustrations and a lot of answers to questions that are common for beginners, answers to questions that I had actually, and I thought were important to answer. And of course, each kit has an instruction booklet for the project as well. And over the last few years, I've expanded my kits to 10. So this group of 8, plus a chicken and a ladybug. And these are just a few of the promo photos that I've taken for the website, showing what goes in each one. Let me show you in a bit more detail. really want to add to my line, and I plan to, but it just takes time, like anything else. I'm sure anyone who's designed their own kits knows the time it takes to photograph and edit the photographs, write the process, do the layout for the instructions, and of course there's the whole process of putting the kits together, all the printing and organizing that goes along with that. So I'm trying to be understanding with myself that I haven't designed any new kits for a while, because I'm also trying to do so much other stuff for my business. But there are definitely more to come. If you want to see more about my kits, take a look at my website, which I've linked in the description below. Right now, I sell the majority of my kits at craft shows, but my nephew, whom I've been working with on e-commerce, has done a fantastic job setting up my website, and we're starting to get sales on there, which is extremely exciting. So I'm looking forward to the future of the kits and seeing where that will go.
Hi everyone. Well, it's the end of February and I actually got more done this month than I thought I would. It's a short month and I didn't know if I'd get anything finished. I didn't really get a lot finished, but I at least worked on quite a few things. So I showed you the fur, the bear fur, so I was able to finish quite a bit. And I'm going to start planting that soon, and I'm hoping by the end of March I'll have that project done. I was able to finish one antler, one full antler, and then kind of a rough second one. So this isn't finished exactly. It's ready to be colored and painted or waxed. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to coat it with wax, and then I think I'm going to paint it to make it look the most realistic I can, but we'll see. So that will be next month as well. And I didn't manage to get any work done on my sheep for my show, which I promised myself I would do every month, but there just wasn't time for it. So I'll be working on that in March as well. And these and this, which a lot of people guessed was a sloth, which is a really good guess, especially if he was to be hanging like this, because I know sloths hang from trees, but it's not a sloth. So if you have any other ideas, let me know, but I want to do some more work on this. I'm really excited about this one. And then I have this, which I've had for a long time, and I think I'm going to make him into a mountain lion. I want to sort of have a collection of Canadian wildlife. Well, this is not a Canadian animal, I will say that. And I do want to work on my octopus that I started a long time ago, and then I've just not completed. So yeah, so that's the next month. It's going to be a busy and hopefully productive month, and I'm hoping by the end of March I'll have pretty much everything done that I need to do for my upcoming shows, and then after that I can just concentrate on videos and making whatever I want to. But I did want to have a certain amount of pieces ready for that, and a whole bunch of those little sheep as well, and some other little things. So I'm gonna try to get as much of that done as I can, and we'll see. Oh, I did want to tell you about well, a viewer, and if you're watching this, thank you so much for kind of reminding me of this. I have had this idea before, but this viewer suggested to make a gingerbread house, a felted gingerbread house. And I think that's such a great idea. I've thought about it before, and I haven't done it. I want to concentrate on animals, but I was thinking over the course of the next year, I could work on it slowly, and then it would be ready for Christmas. So with the scraps that I've collected, and they accumulate very quickly, so I often I've been making little sheet bodies for them, but now I don't need any more for that. So what I've decided to do is take all my scraps and make that the center of my gingerbread house, because I want to build it around that. So I roped together a whole bunch of scraps, and I'm going to add to that and start sort of building the shape over the next however long. I'll probably take long hiatuses from this, but it's something that I'm going to work on over the year. So thank you again for that suggestion. And I'm very excited to say that I have almost reached, at the time of filming this, I'm pretty close to 2,000 subscribers. So very exciting for me. Thank you to everybody who has subscribed. It means a lot to me. Thank you so much. And thank you to everybody who made it to the end of this video. I appreciate the support and I'm very grateful. So until the next time, take care and have a great month. Bye.